Good morning, everyone. My name is Breana Teamer, as she just said. I am the founder and owner of Social Lyfe. We are a branding and design agency. We specialize in social media strategy, dynamic and creative social media strategy, I should say. I'm so excited to be here today with all of you, fellow CEOs, managers, directors, all of that good stuff. I am so excited to be here and connect with all of you guys, and I can't wait to learn about each and every one of your businesses. Today, I have an amazing person up here with us. We had to pivot slightly. We lost one of our panelists, but that's okay because we're gonna rock it out with Fernando. He's a great guy. Fernando is the co-founder and chief co-creation officer of Unblinded Mastery. Fernando, tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about your position as the chief co-creation officer for Unblinded Mastery. What does that look like?
Well, thank you, Bree, and everyone can hear me out there. Okay, yes? All right, beautiful. I am not the type to sit still, so I apologize to James in the back as I will be pacing around interacting with all of you. So let's begin here. Once upon a time, I was the guy that thought that followers, likes, and comments actually mattered. And I was the type of guy that would go to conferences in red leather jackets to attract attention. But a lot of people didn't see me as a professional. They saw me as a word that started with a D. And I'll let you figure that one out, yes. And I very quickly realized over time that, as Peter Drucker would say, Peter Drucker, one of the greatest marketing minds in the world, and Albert Einstein once said, make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. And Peter Drucker stated that business is nothing more than marketing and innovation. Marketing being defined as how you acquire your clients, and innovation being on how you service them. So as the co-founder and chief co-creation officer of Unblinded, my job is to bring a holistic version of the truth, which I'm very excited to be speaking about with Bree. So Bree, please back to you, and Drew, horizontal.
Yeah, that's great. And I really think that that's the way that, social media and digital marketing is moving in general and naturally, is we're used to seeing this super curated content and information that's being put out in front of us. But the fact that you identify and see that, authentic content is what's working now. That's a huge piece of digital marketing now. So why don't you tell us about the world of digital marketing? When do you think that this shift happened? When did things go from traditional marketing to now we see more and more of digital marketing pieces?
Well, Bree, if it's okay with you, I enjoyed our brief conversation in the back. I feel like this is something you are very masterful in. Would you mind sharing to begin just your thoughts? And I'd love to follow you if that's okay.
Yeah, well, I think COVID definitely had a huge influence on the shift that we've seen in digital marketing. When it comes to social media content, and everyone's working from home, everyone is out and about and things like that. And a lot of social media and a lot of digital marketing, a lot of people don't realize about that is that at the end of the day, it's entertainment. And I think that this shift into digital marketing has positioned not only businesses and brands to reach a larger audience, but also to monetize that content that they're putting out as well.
Well, Bree, I definitely could not agree more. And what's beautiful about the world of business is that it's always changing, and it's actually all the same thing. And just like the ab roller or P90X or Beachbod, we as humans are addicted to new. We are addicted to new. Addicted being a strong word. We are addicted to new. So I believe that the ever constant current of marketing, here's the one thing we can all have certainty about business and marketing, is that it will always change. That's the only certainty that we can draw. Because if you think it's gonna stay the same, you're gonna live in uncertainty forever. And I love what Randy said so powerfully at the beginning, because everyone's gonna wanna sell and position what they do as the best. Podcasters, podcast. Funnel makers, funnels. Copywriters, copywriting. SEO people, SEO, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And here's the thing, they're not wrong and they're incorrect. They're not wrong and they are incorrect. Because here's what most people do not do, is they do not do one thing consistently. And we try to bounce around and say, I know what I'm gonna do. It's COVID, I'm stuck, I'm gonna start a podcast. And then you do that, and they're like, wait, I need to create an email list. Then you focus on that. And then you go, hold up, I gotta create a funnel. And next thing you know, you've only done 2 episodes of your podcast, your email list hasn't grown, and your funnel's broken. And if you piece that all together, you're gonna get a whole lot of nothing. So the industry in its ever-changing way, the most beautiful thing I can share about it, whether it's COVID, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's the future of augmented reality, it's always gonna change. And it's important to stick with the trends. We'll come back to that in a moment. It is important to stick with the trends. Nothing is more powerful than a consistent marketing plan. Back to you, Bree.
So how do you think that marketing professionals and business owners, entrepreneurs, how do you think we can keep up with the ever-evolving, ever-changing algorithms when it comes to like social media, specifically Instagram, TikTok, and things like that? And then also, how do we forecast those trends if the algorithm is constantly evolving?
I love that question. And this might be a little dramatic of an answer. My current answer is that you don't. Now, question, as there's a lot of people here, some of you are here to grow your business, some of you are here to socialize, some of you don't even know why you flew to Vegas, and everything in between. But let me ask you this, how many of you sole job function is only marketing? I am a founder, so I wear all the hats. So marketing is just one of them. So my question, then I'll answer Bree's question, is how many of you purely only focus on marketing 24/7, just by a show of hands? All right, beautiful, thank you for your honesty. So 4 out of the 90 that are here. So the reason, and I knew that information already, not because I read minds or read into the future, I just understand human dynamics. So Bree, the answer of why I say you don't is because you don't have the time to. The speed of it is so fast that if you're not on it 24/7, you're always gonna feel like you're going behind. And I wanna save everyone from, I'll tell you all the things I do well, and I'll tell you all the things I do that are very idiotic, like spend millions of dollars at throwing money at a fireplace and burning it, hiring marketers. And if you want to scare a marketer, here's the question you ask them. Okay, how many sales meetings is that gonna create for me this month? And all marketers will go, well, the podcast depends on your views, okay? Facebook ad people will say, well, it depends on your budget. Copywriters will say, well, it depends on how much you distribute your copy. But they will never, rarely, not never, rarely answer the question, how many sales meetings will this create for me this month? So here is potential note moment number 1, is that whenever you're interviewing a marketer, ask them the question, how many sales meetings will this create for me this month? And if they give you any other answer than an answer, pick up your stuff and don't walk, run, because most marketers will avoid that question. Because at the end of the day, the only reason we market is to assemble an audience of those we want to work with, sell with, or recruit. And the only way we have that is by having a sales meeting. How do I define a sales meeting? A sales meeting is having a meeting with someone that knows who you are, knows the purpose of the meeting, and knows that at the end of the meeting, there's an opportunity to say yes to something, which is different than a marketing meeting. Like, hey, let's have a cup of coffee, get to know each other. Hey, let's figure out what we could collaborate and do a thing. That's not a sales meeting, that's a marketing meeting. So Bree, back to you.
So with the algorithm and staying on top of trends, do you think that that is something that should come to the forefront, especially considering, we're all playing the social media game now. And if we're not hopping on that train, do you think that we're falling behind or we could fall behind?
Short answer is yes and no, Bree. So the answer is yes, we must stay on the trends. FOMO marketing is probably one of the greatest marketings in the world. That's what all great copywriters do. FOMO was a thing before FOMO was a thing. So the reason why I say yes, it's important to stay on the trend, it's because we're gonna get left behind if we don't. If you haven't played with ChatGPT-4, if you're not working on big data, if that isn't something you're doing, I suggest you do it. The reason why I say no is because if you follow the trends and you don't stick with plan A, that's when everything fails. If you go, I'm gonna burn the house down, I'm gonna become a master at ChatGPT4, and everything that's worked to get you to where you are now, you let drop, fail, and burn, that's why I say no. And how many of you remember Clubhouse? Yeah? How many of you still use Clubhouse? Congratulations. That's the point. That's the whole point. Back to you, Bree.
Okay, so when we think about influencers and content creators, because that is a large part of the social media strategy and in the digital space, how do you think that that influences an organization's or business's marketing strategy? And how can you incorporate influencers and content creators into your strategy when you don't necessarily have a public-facing business, such as, maybe you sell credit card processing systems or something like that? How can you integrate influencers and content creators into your marketing strategy?
I love that question. Would you like to answer first, Bree, or would you like me to take a crack at it?
So I think it goes back to your target audience. I think that influencers and content creators can be used really across the board in any strategy. It really just depends on who you're trying to target, who you're trying to reach. So if you bring on a content creator or influencer who's all about living the soft life, that's what's trending right now is the soft life, into a financial institute, well, that doesn't really make much sense. But can we bring in an influencer or a content creator who's focused around promoting financial literacy within the community and things like that, and kind of tie it into a social responsibility piece? I think that that's a great way to include a content creator or influencer into your strategy. What do you think?
Bree, I feel like you and I are kindred spirits. I have nothing to disagree with what Bree said. Content marketing is important. Influencer marketing is important. These things matter tremendously. And I share this just for brief contextualization, as I'm just some guy wearing black who showed up that you've never heard before. I had the privilege to build my first $1 million business when I was 21, putting events together. I built my second and third $1 million companies before I was 27 in marketing and internet marketing. I left that all behind when I met my co-founder, Sean Callaghy, who actually, in the history of the 2.0 conference, they've done 40 conferences over 8 years. They've never had a showstopper speaker where every single conference is gonna be coming together. And that's right down the hall at room 306 at 4 o'clock. All the conferences are gonna be coming together. That's my coach, that's my mentor, and he's the only keynote speaker. And what he began to share with me ties in and dovetails quite beautifully. Now, some of the biggest fears when it comes to creating content is I'm not personable. 1, 2 is, what do I talk about? 3, what if someone says I'm cringy in a comment and that bothers some people? And the truth and reality is that you can leverage the identities, as Bree so beautifully said, of other people. And if there's one thing, this would probably be your second potential thing to write down, is that if you're not building some version of brand authority, that is a critical mistake in the future we live in. Because authority and influence, I believe, is the currency of tomorrow. And I'm not saying followers. I'm not saying likes. I'm not saying comments. Sometimes we give up hope when we post and post and post and we don't get the actual results that we're looking for. I rather work with an influencer that gets 100 likes, but when I do business with them, I'm gonna have 50 people wanna talk to me than someone that has 1 million likes. And when I do that, I get the same 100. I rather work with an engaged small audience than a massively unengaged audience. And what I would share for everyone, and I love Bree when you talk about credit card processing, is I have the unique privilege. I'm 31 years old. I coach executives of Disney. I coach partners of giant law firms like Eisner Amper, Witham, Markham. I'm meeting Deloitte on Wednesday. I have the opportunity to coach executives from Exxon. I coach accountants with 3,000 clients. And what the heck does a 31-year-old have to teach those people? That's a different story, a different day. That's what my co-founder Sean will be speaking about. But here's the very common thing. The hardest thing to do in any business, period, is to assemble an audience of your ideal avatar, whether it's to sell them a product or service, or recruit them onto your team, or have donations for profit or non-for-profit. It's the hardest thing to do. The only reasons why humans market is to do that. If you're gonna build a Facebook group, you're assembling people. If you're gonna do email marketing, you're assembling people. Everything boils down to assembling people. And what I share to the Walt Disney executives, what I share to partners of Eisner Amper, what I share to partners of McCarter in English. I was on the phone with the VP of Goldman Sachs, her name is Deborah, and it's all the same thing. Here's what I share to them. What you do is boring. What you do is boring. And let me explain, because most of you are like, that's mean. I'm not being mean, I promise, but here's what I mean, as I'm trying to be dramatic to open listening, as I can tell we're all still here early in the morning. It's accountants want to talk about accounting. Lawyers want to talk about law stuff. Realtors want to talk about the state of the real estate market. Financial service providers want to talk about money. So when you get a call from a financial service provider that wants to talk about the current state of the economy, what do you all think he really wants to talk about? Who said it? Say it again? Yeah, again? Money, someone else said it, starts with an S. Sales, what's your name? Linda should be on stage. All they want to talk about is what they can sell you. Period. We all know that's true. Here's the one thing that all humans have in common, most humans have in common, is they have a desire for more. And as Albert Einstein said, make everything as simple as possible, not simpler. Here's the more we all want. And if one of you don't fit in this category, please let me know. I will not embarrass you. Just I'm always looking to collect data. Humans want three things. One, they want more money. Financial independence, financial freedom, financial literacy. When you have the money you want, the second thing you desire is more time. Freedom of choice, freedom of travel, the freedom to choose what you do with your money. Once you have the money and you have the time, the third thing you want is magic. I don't mean Harry Potter or wands or dragons. I think those are all cool. I'm talking about fulfillment, legacy, love, travel, building churches. That's what all humans have in common. And what all humans are looking for in the more is that they want to go personally and professionally. So to put it all together and kick it back to Bree, if you're like, dude, I do credit card processing, I do plumbing, I do this, here's what you can talk about. Talk about personal and professional development. But dude, that's not what I do. It's not about talking about what you do. It's about people finding you unique and interesting. Because if you could be unique and interesting, people will want to talk to you. And behind that, if I own a law firm, an accounting firm, a plumbing company, financial services, whatever, you find me interesting and you want to talk to me about what you want to talk about, then on the back end, we might be able to build a relationship to do some sort of business together. Bree.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to people don't want to be sold to, you know? So you have to frame your content and your marketing strategy accordingly. People don't want to be sold to. They will be more likely to buy from you if they like you. And how you do that is you build a brand personality, whether that's a personal brand, a digital brand, whatever that may look like for you. No one wants to be sold to, no one. So my question for you is, how do we develop that strong online voice? How do we have that balance between, yes, I'm a professional, but I'm also engaging and personable? How do we find that balance?
Oh my God, Bree. Just to be absolutely clear, we did not prep these questions at all. Have we prepped these questions?
No.
No. And it's as if like I put them all in absolute order. Bree, just absolutely thank you. So part of our work, which we call integrity-based human influence, has three parts. I'm not going to be going into that today. It's self-mastery, which is getting yourself to move through your fear of failure, your fear of rejection, which are the only two things that limit us. The middle, which is going to answer Bree's question, is your influence mastery. What does that mean? Is how you speak one-on-one and how you speak one-on-group, which PS, this is more terrifying than death for most Americans. That's a fact. And the third is process mastery, which is the black and white how you sell, market, retain, recruit. So to answer Bree's question, how we do that is by building our influence mastery. And PS, we're not taught that in school, we're not taught that in college, we're not taught that in Harvard, we're not taught how to communicate, and we're definitely not taught how to listen. If I were to show you a video of me in 2013, you would all want to duck and like hide. I get embarrassed every time I play it because it's horrible. I had no energy transference. My certainty was non-existent. I was not congruent. I wasn't authentic. I wasn't genuine. And the truth is, I was still a nice guy for most people. I wasn't a bad person, because it's not about good or bad or right or wrong. It's all about where are you on the scale of mastery. Now, I would not be able to teach that to you in an hour. It is an ever-growing skill. But influence mastery has three very simple sections. One is the 4 quadrants, which is building emotional rapport, truth, pain, and yes strategy, conveying your heroic, unique identity, and agreement formation. Closing is not even in my vocabulary. Then there's 12 indispensable elements that include unconditional love with boundaries, level 5 listening, validation, congruence, question mastery, again. And then the final are the 4 energies, which would be the easiest one to demonstrate to answer Bree's question. Now, just in your mind, or if anyone would like to interact and answer, it'd be very helpful. Have you ever had someone in your life that made you feel incredibly safe, that made you feel like what you said mattered, and that truly gave you their listening? If you've had that person in your life, please say yes. Okay, beautiful. That would be an example of goddess energy. Now, P.S., goddess energy does not mean feminine energy. I have a lot of goddess energy. My niece paints my nails, does my makeup, she laughs, she makes fun of me, she's 16. So it's not about male or female, it's about safety. Have any of you ever had someone in your life that has inspired you, that has seen things in you that you maybe didn't see in yourself, and helped you see a future you couldn't even believe in? If so, please say yes. Awesome. That's aspirational energy. That is the ability to cause a future thing. Have you ever had anyone in your life that just lit your ass on fire, told you the truth, said, dude, do that, stop doing this? A coach, a mentor, someone that wasn't mean, but that was very direct and precise with how they could support you in being better, and you trusted them enough to receive it. If you've had that in your life, please say yes. That is Zeus energy. Once again, not male, and not loud, and not mean. Sometimes going like, I think the answer is no. That's Zeus energy. And the last one, have you had someone in your life that was just fun and silly and made you laugh? Because fun energy opens listening. And maybe you're funny. Maybe your children don't think you're funny, but your friends think you're funny. Have any of you ever had someone in your life that was just funny? Oh my God, we gotta get you people more friends. Yeah, there we go, now you're back. And that's fun energy. So to answer Bree's question, how do you build that personality? It's through 4 steps, 12 elements, 4 energies. The 4 energies is what's gonna cause charisma, genuine, authenticity, power, certainty. And it's the blending and the weaving of Zeus, goddess, aspirational, and fun. Building those 4, that's what's gonna make you, at minimum, better on the camera and more influential. Bree.
Nice. So we know that a lot of people get internet courage, right? They have Twitter fingers and they type behind the screen and they say all of these things. Some of them are good, but some of them are also bad. How do you navigate through negative feedback or comments that an organization or business may get under their post, or maybe a Google review or something like that? How would you navigate that?
You absolutely lose your mind. I'm just kidding. Would you like to answer that first?
Well, I think just being authentic and addressing the issue straight on. I think it comes to a certain point, especially on social media, people can get a little nasty depending on your industry and your expertise and what you're presenting. It really depends. I recommend for some of my clients to just ignore it. And then other times I say, okay, let's address this because this actually is a problem that keeps coming up. So how can we, mingle this into something that we're coming out, we're being forefront, honest, and authentic about it and addressing the issue straight on. I think when it comes to like Google reviews and things like that, I think I'm a firm believer that you can't satisfy everyone, and I think that it's a learning experience, especially when you get those nasty or bad reviews. It's just like, okay, well, what are we doing? Why did they feel comfortable leaving that comment and things like that? So I think that it's a lesson, it's a learning experience, and I think that it's something that if you don't let it get to you, you can easily bounce back from.
So Bree, yes, yes, and yes. And as I spoke about in the 3 sections of our work, self-influence, process mastery, when someone leaves you that comment, what's going to be attacked is your self-mastery. And some of you are going to take that as rejection. Some of you are going to take that as failure. And how you psychologically deal with that is going, and I hold massive space and empathy for it's going to affect people differently. How you were raised, what your current values and belief systems are. So I don't believe, and actually I agree with Bree, there is no right answer. Everything is situational. And there's polar extremes. There's ignore it. There's send them a cease and desist letter, which in Fun Energy, my co-founder Sean sent me one in like the first 3 months of our relationship. And now we're like co-founders in building this thing. So sometimes just going right at someone really works. And it was a misunderstanding. It all worked out, but it's a beautiful, fun story. Sometimes, and these words could land very differently for different people, so please let me finish the statement. Sometimes you have to make an example of someone. And if it's never about putting someone down, it's never about making someone wrong. It's all about what we call the truthful frame. Here's your third potential thing to write down. No human being, most human beings you will ever meet will never put you in the frame of who you actually are. Oh, you're an accountant. Oh, you do marketing. No, I do so much more than that. The answer is no, I don't do that. So when someone says something like that online, I see those as opportunities not to bash them, not to hurt them, not to belittle them, not to be mean to them. I see it as an opportunity to have others see me in the frame I want to be seen in. Because unfortunately, humans love drama. And they will skip through the good stuff, but when they see a hateful comment, they love those. And they'll look at the person, they'll read the thread. See those as what we call a privileged window, an opportunity not to bash the person, not to make them wrong, to speak your truth and set your frame, and then let the world decide anyway. Because there's nothing you can do to have everyone agree and see you the way you want to. You can work on your skills and talents and mastery to have that percentage, significantly rise. But even the greatest of the greatest, if you go online right now and you take out your phone and you search up Helen Keller, which by the way was deaf and blind, scam, you'll see things like Helen Keller hates blind people. She's blind. If you search up, Tony Robbins is a fraud, you'll get millions of hits. If you type in Oprah Winfrey is a fraud, you'll get millions of hits. And Oprah's incredible, the story, what she did, what she overcame, all that she's done. Humans will always find a way to do that. And if you internalize all of that and you want to be a leader, you're going to have a very, very challenging road to leadership. Bree, back to you.
So we know monetization on social platforms, that's a thing. We see it a lot with content creators and influencers and things like that. But how can businesses and organizations take advantage of that monetization social media program that's currently floating around through TikTok, through YouTube? Instagram now has one as well. Facebook does as well. So how can businesses tap into that?
So here's what I would share. Think of monetization as the whipped cream, the sprinkles, and the cherry. Now, if you were to talk to people like Mr. Beast, who I've had the pleasure of communicating with, one of the most popular YouTubers on the planet, he's one of the rare occasions that make a ton of money off monetizing their videos. Let me define what that means. Ads, running through them, views, eyeballs, like that dude makes some serious cash. Most do not. Most do not. On Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you want to call it, most money is made by taking human beings from social media off the platform and into your world. That's where the big bucks are. Now, I hold space that Mr. Beast exists, but most of us will never be Mr. Beast. Most of us will never be Tom Brady. Most of us will never be Michael Jordan. Now, if you're going to be the greatest of the greatest, there's ways. And some of you don't need to be Mr. Beast. You're happy with 10,000 a month, 100, a million. This dude is making 8 figures, high 8 figures a month through advertisement, just through making content. Most of us won't get there. And that's what monetizing your social media, for the most part, it's about monetizing your content and the eyeballs. Most of your monetization is going to come from building the following and then taking them off the platform into conversations, i.e. sales meetings with you. Those who master that versus those who master monetization, those who master taking the followers, the human beings, the emails, the likes, the whatever, from the platform to a phone conversation, that's where the greatest growth is going to be.
So we know there's a new social media platform floating around. It's called Threads. How do you feel about Threads, and how do you analyze the platform, since it's so new? How do you analyze the platform to be able to adjust and add that into your social media or marketing strategy?
So my favorite thing about Threads is the idea of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg getting into a ring and fighting. That is probably the most exciting thing about Threads to me. And Threads is very similar to Twitter. I personally, this is not anything against Twitter, I was not a big Twitter user. Just for my business and what I did, it just wasn't the platform I wanted to live in. Currently, I play the most on LinkedIn just because I work primarily now with professionals. When I was working with speakers, authors, coaches, I was more on Facebook and other platforms. I primarily play on LinkedIn now. I don't even create a lot of content. Bree was laughing. She's like, I really couldn't find a lot about you online because I don't believe in the creation of content game. I think it's important. I believe in the finding relationships and driving them to create actual business conversations with game. Things like trends, Threads, it's important. I picked up like 2,500 followers in a couple days by doing 2 posts. So it doesn't hurt to do it, but I'm literally spending 0.00001% of my day on it. And the only reason why I'm on it is because I wanted my handle, I wanted my username, and I figured, you know what, let me give it a shot, because when new social media platforms come out, they promote it heavy. The algorithm is in the favor of whoever creates content for the new. So being on it is great, but if you think you're gonna go on it and you watch YouTube videos or TikToks of how to make $20,000 on Threads, listen, it's the same strategy. Create content, get people to opt out of the software, have a high ticket sale, as most people call it. That's not my preferred language. It's the same for all platforms. It's create content, move them over, have a product or offering to sell, be able to sell and monetize. If you're gonna get on that platform, like I said, don't leave your main marketing aside to focus here, but I think you'd be silly to not own your handle. I think you'd be silly to not, while you're walking your dog, just put a little thing and see what happens. And if you get a spike, play with it. Just don't forget about the mothership because of the new shiny object. What are your thoughts, Bree?
I'd have to agree. I think that, once you first get on the platform, anytime they introduce a new platform or a new feature, it's best to hop on that because they are naturally going to boost you up in the algorithm because you're using their features. I think when it comes to Threads, I think that it's more of a relationship builder between you and your audience. It's not really anything to go on and post anything big about, but it's really intimate conversations that you can have with your audience. It's getting to know them in a different way. And I think it's really adding a lot of personability and personality to your brand without having to take the extra step. But then to Fernando's point, we want to get them off those platforms as well. So I think with every strategy, every social media strategy that I ever built, at the bottom of it, it's just like, okay, we have this great social media strategy. It's dynamic, it's going to convert, it's going to do what we need it to do. But how do we then get them off that platform onto our email database, onto maybe we have a subscription, the members only area. How do we do that? Because when social media crashes, if it crashes, we don't have access to any of that same audience.
Absolutely very true. So please, back to you, Bree.
So how do you think Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter has impacted the platform? What are some of the strengths and weaknesses?
That's a beautiful question. And I will share transparently, I have not dove too deep into that topic. I will say, and this is a personal opinion, not a fact-proven scientific one, so I'll always tell you what I absolutely know, and I'll tell you what I think and believe. Because I speak with a lot of certainty doesn't mean I've done my due diligence on everything, but what I haven't done my due diligence on, I will always share transparently. I believe Elon Musk is an incredible visionary, and he has proven it time and time and time again, where what we thought he was doing was just the tip of the iceberg to what he was really doing. And he's had this vision with X.com since pre-PayPal. And he's looking to compete with like WeChat that they have in different countries. And look, what do I think of it? There's a lot there. This could get potentially political. So I will focus primarily on the platform. I believe Elon Musk, I believe one of them is going to win. I believe it's going to be Elon or Mark. One of them is gonna win. One of them is gonna win. And I enjoy the competition. I think tech has gone a very long time unregulated. There's been tons of monopolies created. I'm not saying Elon Musk has or hasn't. I'm not saying Mark has or hasn't. You can all create your own opinion on that. I'm a big fan of competition. And I enjoy that when anyone does anything with Elon Musk, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that dude is not scared to sue people. He is not scared to sue people. Yes, he has the money for it. Yes, he has the power and the influence for it. But at the same time, he is not scared to sue people when it comes to anyone that's putting him in an improper frame. So what do I think about what he's done with the system? I think the system was dying anyway. I think that a lot of people lived on it because it's what we knew, but it was eventually, it was not in an upward trajectory. It was in a stagnant at best, and in business, if you're not growing, you're dying. So I don't know what the future is gonna be, but I do know that we have not even begun to get a glimpse of what Elon is actually doing with the platform. And Bree, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so to your point, Twitter was dying. So why do you think Mark took the initiative to kind of adapt and develop a similar app?
I think it's because it was already built, it had a name, the dude had enough powerful friends and money to acquire it, and business by acquisition for most entrepreneurs is probably the most, if you're looking at a purely pragmatic standpoint of how to make money now, it's much easier to buy a business than it is to grow one. So Elon Musk had it. Elon Musk had a great name, but not when it came to the social media tech space. So the acquisition of Twitter automatically rises his authority as a social media expert, or whatever mogul, whatever term is comfortable for you. So that acquisition completely shot his identity to a new place. And I personally see it as a just one cog in his massive wheel of his interconnectivity of all things. I don't know if it was a smart move, I don't know if it was a bad move, but if I had to gamble, and I don't, if I had to put my money on a person, I'd probably put my money on people like Elon, Warren Buffett, and a few others. And he has to be seeing something we're not. So it's worth staying on that trend.
But with Threads, you have to connect your Instagram profile. And in order to keep Threads or your Instagram profile, you have to keep both. So Mark made it to where you have to have both platforms. If you have Threads, you can't delete it without deleting your Instagram profile. So that's kind of the loophole there.
Yes. Shout out to Mark. I don't know if that's integrous or not, but whatever. Yeah.
$30 million downloads in the first day. So let's take a quick breath and talk about LinkedIn a little bit. I know you said you are primarily on LinkedIn, you do a lot of work on LinkedIn, but we haven't really seen LinkedIn adopt some of the video content that other platforms are pushing, like Facebook and Instagram. Do you think that they're gonna start doing that?
Absolutely. And whether LinkedIn has adapted or not, if you wanna win on LinkedIn, do videos. And this whole fallacy of you can't put a video of your dog on LinkedIn is total hoopla. It's not a professional platform. I hate to break the news to you. That's what we've been sold. That's what they would like, but humans are humans. I rather know about Bree's vacation than Bree's business, and that's how I'm gonna build my rapport with Bree. And they're like, well, I'm gonna put my dog on Facebook, but I'm only gonna put my business on LinkedIn. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I am saying it's suboptimal. And you wanna win and stand out in that platform, just do videos, because most people just don't do it. So whether the algorithm, whatever, it's irrelevant. You're just gonna stand out. Because remember, the goal is to be unique and to be interesting. And if you're on LinkedIn doing videos, even today, and this was really popping 4 or 5 years ago, still today, you wanna stand out on LinkedIn, just do videos. You don't even have to be good at it, just do it. Because just the fact that you're doing it, you're doing more than, I don't want to give a fake percentage, but you're doing more than most people on the platform, whether the platform is into it or not. I believe, Bree, that LinkedIn is going to catch up. Why? Because they have to. If you're not growing, you're dying. And those that can get ahead of that trend and be ahead of making that content, once LinkedIn decides to catch up, it's just going to boost. So those would be my thoughts on LinkedIn.
So do you think that that would be a good strategy for businesses as well? Not just on a personal level, but when it comes to businesses, do you think incorporating these dynamic, creative, authentic, just really out there videos into their social media strategy that's gonna put them ahead of their competition?
Yeah, listen, absolutely. And here would be a headline. If you're a new business owner and you're not selling B2C, business to consumer, you're selling B2B, there is no better place than LinkedIn. If your business is B2B, business owner to business owner, or business owner to corporate America, LinkedIn is the way to play. And it's not even really about, there's importance in creating content. It's also about using the platform. I use the platform more than I create content. I'm constantly messaging, I'm connecting, I'm liking, I'm sharing, I'm building touches. It takes about 17 to 21 touches nowadays to go from stranger to interested in talking to me. That's a lot of touches. I'm not talking about it in a weird way, so everybody relax. But it is like touches, it's touch points. So whether if you're new in business and it's B2B, hands down, LinkedIn, not even about creating the content, about using the platform effectively. You don't have to be a master. It's simple. Like, comment, share. That's it. Connect with people, send them messages. Don't over chunk it, make yourself overwhelmed and then not do anything. Just keep it simple. So I'm a big fan of LinkedIn for that reason, especially if you're a new business owner and or you're selling B2B.
Okay. So let's talk about AI a little bit. What are some of the benefits of AI? What are some of the AI tools that you use in your business or that you recommend for all of us here to use? And or do you have any concerns with the development of AI?
It's a fun question. And it's all concerning. I'm not knowledgeable enough in the intricacies of big data and quantum computing to say that an AI is going to stab me in the neck one day. I just don't know. I'm not sure. What I think about AI and ChatGPT-4, you could write this one down, snackprompt.com, snackprompt.com. I don't own it, I'm not affiliated, I don't make $1 with it, it's just effing awesome. They pre-do prompts for you. I think it's free still, if not it's like $10 a month. And you could say, for example, hey, I wanna learn about leadership from Steve Jobs. And it'll give you a prompt to learn leadership from Steve Jobs. You can go to this other website, you can take Steve Jobs' voice, and I can literally in under 15 minutes create a presentation from Steve Jobs, his voice, his words, the way he spoke in 15 minutes using AI. It's insane. When it comes to copywriting, as Randy mentioned, it used to take me a month, 2 months, 3 months to do a 16-touch email sequence. I can get that done in 4 hours. I can write a book in 2 hours. I'm not saying it's a New York Times bestseller, which by the way, you actually pay for, which is not a real thing, just in case you didn't know that, this is things you pay for. Some people earn it, most people pay for it. So what ChatGPT-4 is gaining you more than anything is your time. It's an incredible gift of time. What it could do, it's not always correct, the facts aren't always 100, and you're still gonna need copywriters to spot check. I don't think that's ever gonna go away ever, maybe, but that's my belief system, is you're still gonna need some sort of human to cross balance and check and make sure it's not sounding like a robot. But you can use things like SpinWriter, and which takes the words and changes them. There's calculators on Google, it'll tell you how much of this is AI written. So you can take it from ChatGPT-4, put it through SpinWriter, put it through an AI calculator, and the Google AI calculator will say this is 90-something% human. It's incredible. So there's ways to crack the system. And the biggest thing I would say about AI is that it's a gift of your time back.
So with marketing funnels, we all know what marketing funnels are. What are some creative or innovative ways that we can kind of move through each level of a marketing funnel? So we have the awareness, then we have the interest, the purchase, the post follow-up. What are some interesting ways that we can navigate through that space, especially as algorithms are constantly changing, attention spans are getting shorter. What are some creative ways that we can navigate through a marketing funnel?
Would you like to answer that one first, Bree?
I think the first step is always awareness, right? So getting your audience to understand and to see what you are trying to do. What's the vision? Who are you? That's always going to be the first step. When it comes to developing a dynamic strategy for that piece, I think it really goes back to your target audience and what you're trying to convey, your core values, all that good stuff. Creating dynamic content, especially in that awareness at the top of the funnel, is really gonna be what's gonna push everything through to the bottom, to the whole transaction through. So when it comes to awareness, get them excited, all this good stuff. And then naturally, they're probably going to want to do a little bit of research on your product, your service, what you're trying to offer. And then you kind of differentiate yourself from there. And then the purchase, and then the post follow-up. And a lot of people forget about the post follow-up. So after they've purchased your product, a lot of people just kind of let it fall through the cracks. But I think that's a great time to nurture your audience and kind of get them back engaged into what you're doing, whether it's a retained client or someone who just purchased the service for you one time, or a consulting or anything like that. What does that experience look like for them? Are they a part of some special community? Do they get invited to events? What does that look like? And I think that all in all, what it comes back to is just being authentic and nurturing your audience through and through.
So Bree, love the idea of marketing funnels. And James, if it's okay, if you could put the QR code up on the screen, that'd be awesome. This might be the fifth or sixth noteworthy, and so much more coming from Bree, is there's a difference between a funnel and a website. There's a difference between a funnel and a website. Funnels kind of fit under website. But if you had to choose, depending on where you are in business, between a funnel or a website, I would choose a funnel every day, twice on Sunday. One, because it's a lot less expensive. Now, if you're a big business and you have, like, the 2.0 conference has multiple things, you need a hub, you need a website, all the different things. If you're looking to convert, if you're looking to create sales meetings, if you're looking to sell a product or service, a funnel is extraordinary. And two pieces that advice I got from my coaches and mentors were Jay Abraham. If you know who Jay Abraham is, he's known as the $1 billion man, one of the most successful marketing consultants in the world. He said the greatest piece of marketing, the greatest advice, the greatest hack you can do in marketing is, I'll ask you this, how many of you have ever been to a mall? Just like a mall, okay? How many of you have ever been to a food court at the mall? Okay. What store at the mall in the food court has the biggest line most of the time? Yes. So it is those that are giving away the free samples of chicken. Now here's a little cup, they walk around, they give you a little cup, a little stick, and you get what's called a free piece of chicken. So Jay Abraham, $1 billion man, his marketing advice to me was always give them a free piece of chicken. Changed my life. Another one that I got is to how you can see a funnel is see it as a salesperson. Don't see it as a website, don't see it as a things. Thank you, Carlos. And James, if we can get that on the screen, I'd appreciate it. It is, look at a funnel as a salesperson. And what that funnel, that salesperson is doing is handling objections, giving testimonials, walking people through the sales process. So by the time they actually get to the phone with a person, they are more qualified and ready to talk to you. They're more qualified and ready to talk to you. And there's a squeeze page, there's a sequencing. It could get complicated. Albert Einstein said make it as simple as possible, not simpler. Have one landing page that goes when they opt in into something, into a thank you second offer, that goes into a nurturing sequence where all it does, it builds your credibility. Because what you want is by the time they go from a lead over there, which I'm not a fan of the word lead, but most people are, when it goes from a lead over there to a phone call with you, your funnel's job, your salesperson's job, is to tell them who you actually are and make it easier for you to go from hello to yes. Bree.
So I know we got a little under a minute left, so I just want to take this time really quick. Everyone, let's just take a deep breath. Let's close our eyes. Let's relax. Let's just take a quick minute. Visualize your happiest self. What is your happiest self doing? Does that person like to get up in the morning and go for a 5-mile run? Do they like to get up, shower, go about their day? Or maybe you like to sleep in to 12 and watch a movie. What does that happiest person look like? Just visualize that. And then I want you to repeat after me. I am happy. I am ready to learn.
I am ready to learn.
And I am ready to connect.
I am ready to connect.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you, Bree. And everyone, before we give Bree a standing round of applause, if you'd like to connect, learn more about our work, I'm not setting you up for a fake sales meeting. I'm absolutely transparent. It's a strategy session with me and my team. You can feel free to scan the QR code if it's a little small. And if you want my actual cell phone number, if you would not mind texting the word Vegas to the number 732-756 732-756-1157. That's 732-756-1157. Text the word Vegas. It'll get you my cell phone number. I'm going to be here till about tonight. Then I'm flying to Orlando at 1 a.m. for another conference. So I will not be here. Yes, that is my life. And then I have a 500-person conference that I'm putting together Thursday to Sunday in New Jersey. So it's Vegas, Orlando, New Jersey. So once again, if you could just text Vegas to 732-756-1157, and please join me in giving this amazing speaker and panelist, Bree, a tremendous round of applause. Thank you.
You're great.